After dominating the Cardinals and White Sox, the Cubs head up I-94 to battle the Crew. The Brewers were the All-Star break Central leaders, but right on cue, the Cubs are back on top. Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Top two teams in the National League Central matching up this weekend. Should be big crowds all weekend. The weather is nice. Cubs and the Brewers coming up here on CSN. And you go back just a couple of weeks. The Cubs came out of the All-Star break 5.5 games out of first place. But they have been in their best stretch of the season. The Brewers in their worst stretch. So the Cubs have picked up 7 games in the standings. They're 1.5 ahead going into this series. And welcome to Cubs baseball. Jim DeShays, Len Casper with you. We'll have the numbers to show you what the Cubs have done and what the Brewers have not. But what's the biggest reason in your opinion?
Well, the biggest reason I think is because the Cubs are a very talented team and they're just starting to find their level. The Brewers are a young up-and-coming team that was playing very good baseball for a long time. Now they're starting to show maybe some signs of fatigue. I think they've got some tired arms in the bullpen. The offense for the Brewers has fallen off here lately. It's still a very talented club in Milwaukee. You cannot take them lightly, but you see the numbers. Cubs 11-2 since the break. The Brewers just got thumped in Washington. They're 4-9. They've got some banged-up pitchers, not hitting the ball out of the ballpark like they did for most of the first half.
Collectively, the lineup's been so good, but tonight we focus on the leadoff man, John Jay.
Yeah, he's done some damage against Milwaukee, batting .381 against the Brewers this year. He's got an on-base percentage of .390 this year. He just gives you one tough at-bat after another.
Kyle Schwarber is not in the lineup against the left-hander Brent Suter. It is an all-lefty matchup. Jose Quintana will make his third start as a Cub.
Yeah, and first two outstanding. That game in Baltimore, his debut with the Cubs, just brilliant. And then followed that up with a solid one last time out. The numbers 2-0 now with 2 starts, a 2.08 ERA. Check out the punch-outs, 19 strikeouts against just 2 walks. Brent Suter is an interesting guy, 27-year-old left-hander out of Harvard, joining the rotation with Chase Anderson going on the DL. He's made 4 starts, 1-0 with a .96 ERA here in July.
There will be a lot of Cub fans in this ballpark, as is normally the case when the Cubs head to Milwaukee. Cubs and Brewers should be a lot of fun. We'll have the series opener next.
Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Ford, who invites you to go further in their fuel-efficient vehicles. Check out our entire lineup at your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Menards, save big money at Menards. And Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
Lovely day and evening here in Milwaukee. Roof open tonight as Brent Suter, a left-hander, will face the following Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Cubs winning the last 3 against the White Sox after dropping the opener of that 4-gamer on Monday. As John Jay will lead it off, Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Wilson Contreras 2 through 4. Jason Hayward is in right. Albert Almora Jr. plays center. Addison Russell is at short. Javier Baez back in the lineup after sitting out 2 games. And Jose Quintana, the pitcher, bats ninth. The Cubs Southwest starting lineup.
Brewers defensively, they've committed 78 errors, most in the National League. Braun, the youngster Brinson in center. Santana, he's got a big arm in right. Shaw, Arcia, Perez, Aguilar on the infield. Manny Pena is behind the plate tonight, and the Lexus starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers is the left-hander Brent Suter, 27 years of age, 6'2", 205. 5 starts, 7 times out of the pen, 1-1 with a 2.84 ERA. Finesse guys, kind of like a left-handed Kyle Hendricks, who didn't go 85 to 87 miles per hour.
And he likes to work fast. He was ready to actually start the game before the official game time. It's 7:10. 0-2 the count, and if Jay gets a hit here, Benny's Beverage Depot will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository. And he punches that one foul. 76 degrees, and again the roof is open.
You've got to be ready to hit against this kid, because yeah, get it and go.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
And he attacks the strike zone and throws first pitch strikes 70% of the time.
The crew chief, Jeff Kellogg, will call balls and strikes. Tim Timmons at first, James Hoy at second, and Will Little is over at third. They overshift to the left against Chris Bryant, and that's where he hits it right to Shaw, the third baseman. Close, but he got him.
Yeah, throwing all those strikes and working so quickly, he can dictate the tempo and the flow of the game, and hitters, when that happens, tend to swing early, and that's going to be something the Cub hitters going to have to try to adjust to here tonight. Maybe step out a little bit on him, try to break his rhythm, and make sure they stay with their game plan. Don't get too swingy too early.
Anthony Rizzo takes low for ball 1. 7 out of 14 this week against the White Sox. Two pretty good pitches, but a little bit below that line.
Sort of quickly gets back on the rubber, and he's ready to go, so he can kind of try to get the jump on the hitter as they get into their pre-pitch routine.
We'd like to welcome all our viewers watching tonight on Bernard Telephone in Bernard, Iowa. Good to have you with us.
Bernie to those of us who know Bernard well.
Now 3-1 on Rizzo. The Suter in for Chase Anderson, who's on the DL. He's been very good in his 4 starts for Anderson.
Yeah, you know, and we talk about this a lot. His stuff is short, so you got to do something a little creative for him. It's attack and work really quickly. A little cutting action on his fastball.
In the air to left. Braun with an easy play, and Suter goes 1-2-3 in the first. Jose Quintana takes the mound when we come back. Including a just completed 2-8 road trip. Here's their Southwest starting lineup. Domingo Santana's had a big month of July. Braun in left. Travis Shaw having a fantastic season. Aguilar plays first. Hernan Perez plays everywhere. He actually pitched yesterday for an inning late. Manny Pena is the catcher. Lewis Brinson, their top prospect, is in center. Arcia the shortstop, and Suter the pitcher.
Cubs defensively, they have John Jay in left field tonight. Albert Almora Jr. center. Jason Hayward will play right. Bryant, Russell, Baez, Rizzo on the infield. Wilson Contreras is the catcher. Lexus starting pitcher for the Cubs tonight is Jose Quintana. Overall, with the Sox and the Cubs, 6-8 with a 4.22 ERA, making his 21st start. Lexus experience amazing. He's pitched in this ballpark once a couple of years ago. 7 innings of 4-hit, 1-run ball.
And ready to work. Santana takes a strike. Fastball at 92.
Quintana not as quickly as Suter, but he likes to work quickly as well. Same MO, attacks early. Once he gets the jump on you, he can finish you off a number of ways. Elevated fastball, good curveball. That was such a good weapon for him in his first Cub start against the Orioles. Also has a changeup. Throw a little cutting action on his fastball as well. Likes to work in.
High that time. And it's 1-2. His third start as a Cub. He's won his first 2.
Wayward with the changeup there. Wouldn't be a bad time to come right back with another one. Santana brings power to the top of the lineup. He's hit 17 home runs, driven in 55.
To the 3-2 with Ryan Braun on deck.
Look at the damage he's done against lefties of late.
And he got him. Santana strikes out.
Off the inside corner under the hands. Quintana off to a good start.
Well, you can tell how many Cub fans are in the park just by hearing the amount of booing going on as Ryan Braun was introduced. Quintana's first offering just missed the outside corner. Brewers with their throwbacks, and I love this look. The ball and glove logo. One ball, one strike. I believe they wear those for home Fridays. Hard to find a stat or a split that shows Ryan Braun struggling. This feels like he hits all kinds of pitching in just about every ballpark against just about every team.
Well, lifetime .303 hitter, lifetime .544 slugging percentage, OPS .910 for his career. Been at it since 2007.
Fouled away 2-2. About the only thing that has stopped him here in the last couple of years, injuries. 2 DL stints this season. With left calf issues, he's missed a total of 39 games. And most recently battling a sore wrist. Two pitch, fouled away. Cubs are 5-4 against Milwaukee. 10 games to go in the season series, including tonight.
Trade deadline is Monday.
Line drive, Hayward runs it down on the warning track.
Well, these Brewer fans really appreciate good outfield play because they really responded to this catch by Jason Hayward and right. And we've said it time and time again, Braun really good the other way, and off the bat he's probably thinking 2 bases, but Hayward was deep to begin with. Good read, good break, good catch, 2 outs.
And now Travis Shaw, the third baseman. Well, what a year he's having. Top 7 in the National League in RBIs, home runs, doubles, extra base hits, and slugging percentage.
I guess you would have to call it a breakout year for Shaw, who batted .242 last year for the Red Sox. Brewers got him in an offseason deal, sending Tyler Thornburg to Boston.
Thornburg will not pitch this season due to injury. A ball and 2 strikes on him.
Brewers lead the league in home runs. They lead the league in stolen bases.
Shaw get him to chase a breaking ball, and he would not.
Shaw capable of providing both. He's hit 24 home runs. He's 8 for 8 in stolen bases.
Bottom 1, 0-0. Just getting started. Should be a fun weekend. And he got him on the curve for a called strike 3. 2 punch outs in the first for Quintana. 0-0. Baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Wilson Contreras will lead off the Cubs second. Brent Suter was ready to work about 2 commercials ago. His windup is fast.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. He gets the ball and he gets right back up on the rubber, so he's prepared to dictate the tempo. And you know, hitters have a certain routine they go through, whether it's a couple bat waggles, pump it around a couple of different times, tap the shoulder, as they get into the rhythm of the at bat. And he has the ability, as he's standing out there, to pick his time to go. And you see right there, he's going to go. And
oh, he could have.
Yeah, he could have.
Time was not called.
Definitely creating some anxiety for the Cub hitters.
Contreras bounces to third, barehanded play, Shaw, and he got him. What a play.
Shaw has committed just 5 errors all year. Made one yesterday on a pop-up, and that was the first one since at the end of April. He had a long errorless streak. Ended in a funky way yesterday. Coming aggressively, yet under control.
The previous pitch, Contreras requested time, but only the umpire can call time. But Suter did stop.
And it's almost a reflex action on the part of the pitcher when you see the hitter step out like that. It's sometimes hard to go through with your delivery.
Suter's from Cincinnati. That's a strike. Went to Moeller High School. They were not happy with Jeff Kellogg's call.
Like it might have been up and in a little bit.
And Hayward waves at strike 3, and Jeff Kellogg's following him.
Yep.
He was saying it's a good pitch. Albert Almora Jr. Ball 1. Cubs are 28-17 when he starts in center, including last night against the White Sox. 2 for 4 with a double and a run scored. Driven out into right and caught just down to the dirt. Santana makes the grab, and the Cubs go down 1-2-3 again. Talk podcast brought to you by Wintrust, breaking down a wacky week from Bryant's first career ejection to the heated dugout conversation, plus the Justin Verlander rumor is still circling. Subscribe today. Nothing. Aguilar, the first baseman, will lead it off. He's a cleanup man tonight for the Brewers.
Brewers getting a lot of production from that position with Eric Thames, who was so hot at the beginning of the year, but gotten 28 home runs out of their first baseman. Second best in the league behind the Braves. Guy hitting .344 against left-handed pitching.
Fouled away. Huge crowd tonight. Guessing we're going to be over 40,000. And yes, you can hear it. There are a ton of Cub fans here. Check swing foul.
Big man Aguilar, 6'3", 250.
And he laces one out into center for a base hit. It's the first hit of the ball game.
Trying to work off the outside corner. He just reaches out and drops the barrel on it.
And on Perez now, after pitching yesterday in a blowout loss, has played every major league position except catcher. And yes, he said he would like to catch at some point, just to complete the circuit. And he didn't give up a run. He drives one out on the right. Hayward will have to play that one off the wall. Aguilar to third. Perez will slide in just ahead of the tag by Russell. Second and third, nobody out.
Perez, like Aguilar ahead of him, goes the other way. This time over the head of Hayward and off the wall for 2 bases. Pitch outer part of the plate, but up and much easier to get to. Get the sense that Quintana's trying to get locked in, trying to command that outside part of the plate, trying to maybe get a little sinking action out there, or a little runner on the 2-seamer. But last couple of fastballs out there have been somewhat flat.
There's a catcher, Manny Pena, infield back with nobody out, and the curve misses. Ball 1. Early adversity for Quintana. Kept the Cubs' streak of not allowing a first inning run alive. 14 games and counting since the start of the second half, but he's in trouble here in the second inning. This ball inside. 2-0 on Pena.
Yeah, a journeyman type player, Played 64 games for the Brewers this year. That's the most he's ever played in a major league season, and he's done a real nice job for them.
This will give the Brewers the lead as Aguilar scores. Pena with an RBI 6-3 ground out, 1-0.
Two men in scoring position. You got to keep the infield back. That's an easy read for Aguilar to come home on that ground ball to short.
There's Lewis Brinson, 6'3", 195. They got him in the Jonathan Lucroy deal last year from Texas. They recently sent Keon Broxton to the minor leagues. Brinson was brought back for his second stint earlier this week and was homered in back-to-back games.
Former first-round pick of the Rangers. A lot of tools, still pretty raw, but a lot of upside.
One and one the count. Here's a pitch, called foul. Brinson really struggled in his first stint earlier this season. Went 3 for 31 with 13 strikeouts. Then he went back to AAA and hit over 400. The 1-2. Perez thought about it, but made the right choice. He would have been out by a mile. As Contreras pounced on that loose ball.
Smother and recover. The other thing you have to consider as a base runner, how quickly is that catcher going to go out there and get that errant pitch?
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Couple bad hacks at the Quintana curve. Third strikeout on the evening for Jose.
Now Orlando Arcia really blossoming defensively and offensively.
Years ago he was their top prospect, and now a legit big leaguer with a lot of game. Guy who's gone backwards is Jonathan Villar, who had a very nice year last year. He's not in the lineup tonight.
Lead the division by a game and a half.
He's pretty much held on to first place since the end of May, just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, they were in first place for 61 consecutive days. before dropping into the second spot on Wednesday. And now Arcia will be intentionally walked 3-0 with the pitcher on deck, so they'll send him down to first.
Cub fans, summer is in full swing, so come out and catch a game at Wrigley Field. Tickets are still available for games in August, especially for the Diamondback and the Cincinnati series. Visit Cubs.com for tickets.
There's the pitcher Suter. He now has a 1-0 lead. I don't know if he can hit, but he's got some cool batting gloves. You always want to look the part, whether you can play the role or not.
Hitting 222. He's got a good waggle. He's got a good take. I think he's got a chance.
Quintana 6'1", 220. He's 28 years old.
A dangerous man on deck. I would assume Suter would be in take mode here on 2-0.
Well, swings away. Quintana off the mound, and that'll be it for the Brewers in the second, but they get the lead. It's 1-0.
Live in full color with Blue Man Group, the spectacular collision of comedy, theater, rock concert, and dance party, all rolled into one. Catch our boys in blue at the Briar Street Theater. Call 800-BLUE-MAN or visit blueman.com. Six up, six down for Suter to get started, and Russell steps in top of the third, and here he goes again. First pitch strike.
Off the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike on the Cubs shortstop.
Cub hitter now as they step in, one hand back, asking for time. You know, I kind of like what Almora did in his at bat. He never left the box, so he was kind of he was in ready mode as Suter got ready.
There's a base hit.
Yeah, so was Russell right there.
Yep. Good call. First hit of the night for the visitors. Well, you know, you hear about adjustments. I suppose that's an adjustment, and
yeah, and it's contrary to what you think. And that what I initially said is, you know, you got to step out on this guy so he doesn't fall into a rhythm. But the problem with that is once you step out, now you've got to start all over again, getting yourself ready, and he's already ready to go. So I think the answer may be, don't leave the box. Be ready to hit as he's getting the ball back.
A strike on Baez, who had a rough night on Tuesday afternoon at Wrigley Field. 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. Not the first to do it, and he won't be the last. Can't feel too good. Nice play by Shaw, and they're going to turn it. Wow. 5-4-3 double play. Pretty smooth over there tonight.
Boy, nice little play here by Shaw. In between Hop, gets the glove out in front of the body. Perfect feed to Perez at second base to make the turn. Javi, who was probably thinking, well, nowhere to go but up after an 0 for 5 with 5 punch outs, goes down just a wee bit with that double play ground ball.
Well, you talk often about Gallo's humor. I wonder if anyone in the dugout will say, at least you didn't strike out. Yeah, it's a tough week. The 0-1 on Quintana. Right-handed batter, left-handed pitcher.
This is reminiscent of Jim Cott at the end of his career.
Pitching like he's double parked.
Jim Cott, who had a long career and not a Hall of Famer, but many believe he should be. And at the end of his days, when he was losing velocity, he you know, this is what he did, and he would just step and throw and sink it, try to put it in play, keep the hitters off balance.
Two and 2 on Quintana. There's a base hit. I thought he had a good swing the other night. That is his first major league hit. 1 for 30 now in the big leagues.
Aguilar, the first baseman, he's going to hand him the ball. So here you go. Should have put it in his back pocket. Yeah, and what Suter's going to come into your picture at the end. He's still holding out hope for the 9-1 put out there. Leave it to the Harvard guy to cover first base on a base hit to right.
Another base hit. This time John Jay. The 3rd hit of the inning. And it will bring up Chris Bryant.
Jay continues his outstanding work against left-handed pitching, stays back on the breaking ball.
Is there a lot of energy in the park tonight or what? Swinging and a miss.
Well, the Brewer fans trying to answer all the Cub fans that are here, and it's created a great environment. Sort of loses his advantage a little bit with men on base because you got to come to a stop before delivering, and that allows the hitter to time him up a little bit better. That's the feel of a normal pitcher-batter confrontation, not that rushed sense you get with nobody on base.
Quintana out there dancing around at second base.
First career knock. He's going to have a little fun on the bases.
He has never scored a run in the big leagues. He'd love to trot home here on a big fly. Left field, Braun has room. Cubs strand 2, trail 1-0 in the third. The Giga Time moment is powered by Xfinity. Wednesday night, White Sox fans giving Jose Quintana a great ovation in his return to Guaranteed Rate Field. This time as a member of their crosstown rivals. Very touching moment. He trails 1-0. Just picked up his first major league hit, and he'll face the top of the Brewer order here in the third inning. This starts a stretch of a lot of games against teams with winning records. Of the next 15, all against teams better than 500.
Yeah, Diamondbacks and the Nationals come to town after this series, and Cubs go out west for Giants, and then 3 more with the D-backs.
Fouled by Santana. Overall, in the strength of schedule, 61 to go, 40 against teams that have losing records. Two and two on Santana.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good idea of the strike zone. He strikes out a fair bit, but he'll take his walks too. Good bit better than league average in terms of his walk rate.
July 6th at Wrigley. That his first career 4-hit game. Reached base 5 times that day. And he hits a rocket that is dropped by Almora. Santana trying to make second, and he is in.
I'm guessing that ball was knuckling on Almora. It was really well struck. And sometimes when a hitter squares up a ball like that, it'll actually come out there like a knuckleball with all kinds of unpredictable movement. And handcuffs him.
It also looked like Albert slipped. See, they
dragged the toe a little bit there.
Got him out of sorts.
Yeah, the eyes start to bounce a little bit. Harder to track the ball.
We're waiting on a scoring decision. It is an error. 2-base error on Almora.
Measuring a pretty big lead out there. Baez sneaking in behind him on the pitch and then pointing to Contreras. He was swinging a miss here. Contreras is going to take a shot at him.
To Braun. This one's deep. Hayward leaps and he makes a catch. Braun incredulous as he kicks the dirt. He thought he had a 2-run homer, but Hayward took it away.
The fans responding to the catch, and they're also responding to Braun's actions out there as he just kind of circles around in disbelief. He's hit the ball very well twice tonight. He's 0 for 2, and Hayward, the Gold Glover, shows you why.
Clearly was going to be a home run. Also, Santana didn't tag.
Yeah, Santana doesn't tag. You see him at the end of our shot there retreating to second base.
That feels like a mistake.
Yeah, I think with nobody out, you maybe go a third of the way, read the ball off the bat, and then you think there's any chance at all that'll be caught, you get back and put yourself in position to tag.
Because if it's not caught and it's not a home run, you're only going to advance 1, but there's nobody out.
Yeah, and there's even a chance you're going to score anyway with a ball off the wall. Or
well, let's see if Quintana can take advantage of that. How about the 2 outs Braun has made? Jason Hayward.
Jason would tell him, hit it somewhere else, pal.
Yeah, Braun would be 2 for 2 with double and 2-run homer.
There's a reason why I got a mantle full of Gold Gloves.
1-1 is a strike. Two and 2. And for those of you who have noticed, yes, we had a different center field camera angle, but having some technical issues, so that's why it has changed. You're not seeing things. Called strike 3. 2 down.
on Tuesday, August 1st. Cubs and the Diamondbacks. First pitch 7:05, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving 21 and older fans will receive a Cubs ice mold presented by Jim Beam. Tickets are still available. Visit Cubs.com today.
Aguilar with a leadoff hit and a lone run in the second inning. That game on July 6th, the Brewers beat the Cubs in the makeup game at Wrigley Field. Aguilar 3 for 5. The next night at Yankee Stadium, he tied a Brewer record with 7 RBIs in his first career 2-homer game. At second base is Santana. 2-1 on Aguilar. Kyle Hendricks will pitch tomorrow night. Second time back from the DL. Junior Guerra will go for the Brewers. Lackey and Davies on Sunday afternoon.
So it's a good weekend for Ivy Leaguers. Suter, a Harvard man tonight, and Hendricks, the Dartmouth man, tomorrow. Well, Aguilar got the base hit on a fastball out away from him last time, so doing a lot of work in off the plate in this sequence.
Line drive, John Jay makes the catch. There's some really hard contact in this third inning. It could be 3-0 Milwaukee, but 4-time Gold Glover Jason Hayward stole away a home run. For Jason Hayward, that big defensive play. Anthony Rizzo with a big hack and fouls it off. Underway in the fourth. 1-0 Brewers. 2 strikes on Rizzo. Those are season best 7 games above 500. 11-2 since the All-Star break. Swing and a miss. One away here in the 4th.
On Wednesday, Cubs Diamondbacks. First pitch is at 7:05, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving 21 and older fans will receive a Cubs fedora presented by Barefoot Wine. Tickets still available for this one as well. Visit Cubs.com.
Ball 1 on Wilson Contreras. What's going on in St. Louis with the manager and the catcher?
Yeah, a little tension there in the Cardinal clubhouse.
Yesterday, Mike Matheny was asked about Molina. And Mike kind of indicated that he might be a little tired, could possibly use a break, and Molina posted something on Instagram. Said, I trained to play 174 games. That's what it takes to be a champion. I'm not tired, and the day I feel tired, I'll express it myself. Contreras out in the right. Santana will haul it in. Well, that part of the field, there's been a lot of hard hit action.
Shot made a nice play on Contreras on a slow roller last time. This time solid contact, but it turns into an out as well. Yeah, and you get the sense that there's got to be a little something underlying to that too. For Molina to pop off on social media like that, that leads me to believe that there's some underlying tension with he and Matheny that may be going back a bit. Just indicative of frustrations, a tough year, but I could see a player going, no, I'm fine, I'm not tired, but the way he responded on social media just
yeah, seemed particularly pointed. Hayward pops out. That's a quick one for Suter. Midway in the 4th, 1-0 Milwaukee. A $1 million battle fleet for your share of over $1 million in cash and slot play. $1 million battle fleet only at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Learn more at PaysBig.com. 1-0. Milwaukee. Brewers batting here in the bottom of the fourth. Perez with a double in the second.
Pretty serious exit velocity off the Brewer bats in the third, but nothing came of it.
Ground ball. Nice play, Rizzo. Does he have time to get him? Close. He did. Perez with a headfirst slide is convinced he's safe, but for now, he's out.
I would imagine the Brewers are going to challenge this one. See, Anthony takes a little time there to right the ship, and then the underhand toss doesn't have a lot of steam on it, and I think he's safe.
Yeah, me too.
A little more urgency was required there from Anthony, and just didn't get a lot on that toss either. And yeah, it's going to be a knock for Perez.
So the Brewers have challenged, and it should not take long to change the call.
Normally on that play, Anthony would go ahead and do that kind of short arm overhand toss.
He's 2 for 2. And the leadoff man has now reached each of the last 3 innings.
See what the Brewers do here, how aggressive they are in terms of the running game. Perez, certainly a guy who is capable of stealing a base. Tougher, obviously, with a left-handed pitcher on the mound. You got a slow-footed catcher in the box.
Kind of a fun note. Pena has homered on Mother's Day and Father's Day this year. One other Brewer in franchise history did that. Ben Oglivie did it twice. Yes, there's a stat for everything.
How is he on Arbor Day?
I'll have to look that up. What is Arbor Day?
That's when you plant a tree. It might be in the fall, though. I don't know.
Ground ball toward the hole. Sliding play. Throw to second. Can't get him. Great try by Russell.
Well, that would have been one of the best plays you've ever seen.
Back-to-back infield hits.
So Quintana gets the ground ball, just not in a good place. Beautiful play. Great try by Russell. Even if Baez catches that ball, Perez is going to be safe. Brinson's got a chance to hit into a triple play here. Hope he realizes how lucky he is. He can take advantage of that.
Not often you get to make history.
Looked bad on a couple curveballs last time. Punched out.
Takes this one.
Yeah, looked like he was looking for it there.
Quintana trying to dodge some traffic here in the fourth. Already down a run. 2-0.
Gave up 3 rockets last inning, but no hits. 2 ground balls this inning, 2 hits. They weren't weak ground balls. They were pretty well hit. Brinson was batting .345 at AAA, batted .382 in 93 plate appearances last year with the Brewers at AAA. He started the season at AA with the Rangers.
The other kid they got in that Lucroy deal was Ryan Cordell. He's the minor league outfielder they traded to the White Sox this week for Anthony Swarzak.
And another pitching prospect too, or Luis Ortiz.
There's the 2-1, and he hits it high in the air and out of play, foul.
Impressive specimen, this kid. Long, lean, and strong, and will likely get a little stronger. Brewers farm system, one of the most highly regarded in all of baseball now, with the moves David Stearns, their general manager, has made over the last couple of seasons.
Yes, Luis Ortiz, another player in that trade, right-handed pitcher, 21 years old. Runner takes off for third. Throw there is late. Perez steals third. Meantime, 3-2 on the hitter.
Didn't get the second check from Quintana. Had a bit of a running lead. Took advantage of it. Contreras' arm makes it close. He's in there.
That's his 9th. He had 34 last year. So first and third, 3-2, and he took it. Ball 4, and then the bases are now loaded. So an adjustment, by Brinson in that at bat.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing for a young hitter in a high anxiety situation. Big raucous crowd, couple guys on base, man on third. Showed good discipline.
Nowhere to put him.
Dugout.
That would be a good spot. Broken bat grounder. They'll try to turn 2, and they can only get 1 as a run scores. Bryant tripped as he was making that throw, and then Baez could not get a good handle on it. Arcia runs really well, so you know, have to take another look to see if they would have turned 2.
That's cracked bat, so it takes a little steam out of that ground ball. A stumble from Bryant. I doubt that they get 2 with the 2 long throws and Arcia going down the line.
I'm with you. Yeah, you know, you mentioned the contact for outs, and then the 2 infield hits, and then that play, Arcia ends up benefiting from breaking his back, because baseball sometimes is weird. There's the pitcher, Suter, already showing, and he just bunted through it.
That's a play. It's a predetermined play. When you're going for 2 with the bases loaded in that situation on that kind of a ground ball as a third baseman, you're not going to spend a lot of time rearranging your thoughts like, should I go home here or not? You're thinking 2 all the way around the horn.
Normally when the at bat goes the way it has for Suter, one of 2 things will happen. He's either going to lay down the best bunt of his life, or he's going to strike out. There's going to be no in between, right?
Pretty good chance, yeah. Look where Contreras is set up.
He took it, and a stolen base for Arcia.
Council pushing his guys here. We mentioned they lead the league in stolen bases, and they got a lot of guys in their lineup on their club capable of stealing bags. A lot of times you think of that, you look at the team stolen base leaders, and it's maybe one guy getting it all done. Billy Hamilton in Cincinnati, VR to a certain extent here last year, but this roster's got a lot of team speed.
Number 10 for Arcia, now the infield in. So the bunt not in order now. Even though he's going to try, or maybe pull it back, we'll see. 2 down as Suda wants to break the battle over his knee or his helmet or something. I don't get the show bunt, pull back and swing with 2 strikes, but it's hard enough to hit Jose Quintana. That gets by, and
second base.
Everybody goes back.
Wow, we got a lot going on in this inning going. Clearly a cross up here, miscommunication, and Contreras chatting with Quintana as he walks him back to the mound.
If Arcia is at third, I think he tries, but Pena, the catcher, got halfway and thought, I'm going to be out by a mile.
And I think Arcia would have been out too. It came back so quickly. Again, Contreras is so quick. I don't think anybody scores on that ball, but you're right, a speedier guy might try it.
Here's the 1-0. Outside. Doesn't want to walk him here, even though first base is open. Very dangerous. Ryan Braun is on deck. He has squared him up twice already.
This is where you got to really trust yourself to make a pitch with a secondary pitch, and he does. He flips that curveball over the outside part of the plate. You don't want to give in with a heater there. You got to fight your way back into the count.
Two, 1, and a few feet foul. Jose working very hard tonight. The labor through the second, gave up 1, and the same here in the 4th.
The atmosphere at the ballpark in these last few days. The Sox at Wrigley, then on the south side.
Cardinals last weekend.
Yeah, and then this place here tonight.
Here comes the 3-2. He walked him. So Braun is 0 for 2, but the box score does not tell the whole story.
Quintana misses badly. Braun hits it hard, but Hayward was deep to begin with, runs it down. Then Braun this time thinks, well, all right, I'm going to hit it out of the ballpark. And Hayward says, well, you got to hit it further than that.
It's funny, if he gets out of this, it would feel like the Cubs are ahead. Because the Brewers have had a couple of opportunities here to really break this thing open.
Yeah, this is one where you circle this at bat on your scorebook. This could be a game changer.
One ball, no strikes. The pitch.
Has been willing to call some pitches off the plate, away. That one was deemed to be a little low, and it was borderline.
Two and one.
See many changeups tonight with Quintana.
He is going to get out of it with limited damage as Almora makes the grab. So they get one. Could have been a lot more. 2-0.
Fans will receive a Cubs t-shirt presented by CSN. Tickets are still available. Visit Cubs.com today. That's a handsome tee right there.
Cubs are huge in Paris.
Paris, France. Amour les Cubs.
Suter with a 2-0 advantage and a strike on Almora. Albert lined to right his first time up. Suter's parents went to Penn State. That's a base hit. Leadoff single. His dad, Mike Suter, terrific football player. He was on a national title team at Moeller High School. I don't think they have like a national championship game. It's just they have a national rankings.
Mythical national champion.
Yeah. And then was on the Penn State title team in '82. His mom Shirley was a high school state champion swimmer and also swam collegiately. A little late getting back, but he didn't have a very big lead. Suter's degree from Harvard, environmental science and public policy. And a strike on Russell. Fly ball to right. And it's called in by Santana for the out. Matt Garza on the disabled list for the 3rd time this season. The latest injury, a calf issue. Had a groin injury, a chest contusion, and now a right calf sprain.
Brewers have used 10 different starters, 19 different relief pitchers this year.
The obvious narrative going into this weekend, the 0-1 to Baez is fouled. Two teams going in directly the opposite direction. The Cubs 11-2 since the break. Brewers 2-9 in their last 11. I mentioned the other night Joe wanting to make sure that guys are tightening up their games a little bit. I think it was Wednesday night. He wasn't thrilled with a few things he saw, even though the Cubs won seemingly comfortably. And I was talking with Craig Counsell before the game, and he was breaking down for me their road trip. He said, you know, we played like 3 bad games, but we played 4 good games in Pittsburgh and we got swept.
They just didn't score a lot of runs there. Right. 4-2, 4-3, that type of ball game.
And so I think, you know, when you're on the outside looking in, you look at a record, or you look at a game, and if you win, you're great. If you lose, you stink. But managers really don't look at it that way until, I guess, it's an elimination game.
They're looking at, how well you play the game.
Baez strikes out.
It's kind of a silly thing to say, but what I mean by that is you have good at bats, you make the right plays in the field, throw to the proper bases, make good decisions on the base paths. Sometimes you do a lot of things well, you just don't have a lot of luck putting the ball in play, and you end up making a lot of right turns, and everybody says, man, you look flat. Well, you don't look flat when you're not scoring runs. And the other thing you talk about, Joe wanting his guys to tighten it up during the stretch while they're doing a lot of winning. That's, you see that a lot of good managers will do that. Yes. Too. They'll push hard, when their team is going well. They don't let them off the hook when they make mistakes. You point out to guys, hey, yeah, we won that game, but you did this and you did that. We need to do this better.
Well, I think it goes back to what we just said too. When you're winning, you don't want that feeling of invincibility to creep in, where you feel like, well, I made 2 errors, or I had 3 terrible at bats, but we won, so I was good tonight.
Yeah, you don't want guys to get careless. And conversely, when you're scuffling, sometimes you back off and you ease off guys and just try to kind of rally the troops. Hey, we're going to be all right, boys. Keep playing hard.
Quintana picked up his first major league hit in the 3rd, strikes out here in the 5th, and it's 2-0 Milwaukee. Rick Mooney, our Cubs insider at CSNChicago.com, presented by nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. Go to jeffvuk.com or follow him on social media. Nationwide is on your side. Is that the New Jersey governor?
It is.
Chris Christie in the house. He had a shot at a foul ball in New York the other day, and he made the catch.
Yeah. So he must be on some kind of a ballpark tour or something.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out and get well wishes to Cubs blogger John Arguello. Watching in Arizona tonight. John, feel better. Hang in there. And a strike on Travis Shaw. He was putting together this career year while dealing with a pretty serious family situation off the field. His newborn daughter Ryan has undergone numerous surgeries due to a severe heart issue. He said getting traded to Milwaukee ended up being a godsend due to the fact that the nearby Children's Hospital of Wisconsin was one of the best in the country in terms of dealing with the sort of issues Ryan is battling. So I guess Shaw intends on spending the winter here as well, just to make sure she's well taken care of. One away here in the Milwaukee fifth.
Well, Jose Quintana could use a quick inning here. He's made a lot of stressful pitches tonight. 83 total.
Aguilar looks at a strike. This waiver claim in Cleveland in early February. Aguilar hit .452 in spring training and ended up on an opening day roster for the first time. He's out, and it'll bring up Perez, who's 2 for 2.
Robbie Ray, the fine left-hander for the Arizona Diamondbacks, had to be carted off the field tonight. He got hit in the head by a line drive. It's about of Luke Voigt. According to the story here, line drive off his head. He dropped to the ground. The ball was caught in foul territory in the air by Daniel Descalso.
Tapper foul. But here's what I've noticed over the last 2 days. And I am not singling out Manny Pena. He's not in the on-deck circle.
Oh, he's close to it at least.
Yes, it's not egregious.
Yeah. And mostly because the circle itself has become a place to leave all the paraphernalia.
Right.
Guys don't like to step on it because it's slippery.
But if you go back to the Beltre video, I guess we'd have to do a scientific measurement. It was only about 3 or 4 steps from it, right? It's not like he had to run 50 feet.
I'd have to see the video again.
Swing and a miss. Quintana has that efficient 1-2-3 you were talking about. 2-0.
School year, Monday, August 14th and Tuesday, the 15th. Cubs are offering specially priced tickets to teachers, students, and academic professionals and their family members and friends to watch the Cubs host the Cincinnati Reds. Included with your game ticket, participants will receive a commemorative fidget spinner. For tickets, visit Cubs.com/community nights.
Cubs trying to get to Suter. Unfortunately, that one caught the catcher Pena in a bad spot. Maybe underneath the mask. And John Jay can relate. He got beamed in the helmet last night on a pitch.
Right up underneath the mask.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No fun. I don't know if you gave this detail. Steve Gilbert, who covers the Diamondbacks for MLB.com, said that Ray was alert and has been sent to the hospital.
That's
all right.
Good information.
Yep. Shaw robs Jay. He's now 1 for 3.
You have to believe this much. Brewers defenders are on their toes when playing behind Suter. Pretty well struck, but Shaw right there to make the grab. Did the scouting report on Suter. He said, what's his best pitch? Well, his best pitch is his tempo. Doesn't throw hard, doesn't have a great breaking ball. You know, the stuff-wise, it's across the board fairly pedestrian, but throws strikes, works quickly, moves the ball in and out. And this is just further evidence that you don't have to go 95 miles an hour to have success.
Ball, 1 strike count. And Chris Bryant, another ball hit hard. A 1-hopper to Perez on the other side of the bag. That'll go 4 to 3.
This did pretty well last time too. A little topspin line drive to left field. This time sharply hit, but Perez right there to make the play on him. Hitters are starting to grow a little frustrated.
His own catcher has to slow him down every once in a while.
Like watching a game on fast forward.
You know, certain veteran pitchers at times would call their own pitches. Oh, how about this inning? Good exit velocity throughout and no hits in the 6th. 2-0. Fall of 2017 returns with fast-paced pick-up-and-play MLB action packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Hot Dog looks focused tonight.
Yeah, really good technique. Wire to wire, huh?
I believe so. Pena with an RBI ground out, his first time up. Infield hit in the fourth.
Likely the last inning for Quintana.
Another hard hit ball and another out. I was going to mention, some veteran pitchers back in the day would call their own pitches. Greg Maddux was known at times to catch the ball in a certain
whether it was in front of his body or on the side of his body.
Right. I think Suter might be a guy, and he doesn't throw that hard, where you could almost get away with not really flashing signs. He wanted to take it to another level.
Especially because he throws so many fastballs. He throws his fastball about 70% of the time. But he could easily do that. He could swipe with his glove to, say, I want to come off the fastball, throw something else. And Nolan Ryan used to, when he wanted to throw his changeup, he would bare his teeth at the catcher. Give him a little grimace. And we've had shots of pitchers, when the hitter's got the head down looking in at the catcher, telling him verbally what he wants to throw.
Yep. Bouncer toward the middle. And Russell will make the play. Ted Lilly, we had a shot of Ted close up. And you can see him mouthing the word slider.
That Kurt Schilling used to do it a lot.
And then I think a couple of days later, Teddy said, "Hey, could you guys not show me do that?" And I said, well, the problem is when you're pitching, we normally show you, so there's not a whole lot I can do about that.
And really, there's no way the hitter's going to know it, and that's the only guy you really need to fool.
Right. And if you wanted to really have fun, you could mess up the other team's dugout if they catch on and say, okay, when I say slider, I mean
right. Every third time I say slider, it's something else.
Line drive. Hayward makes the catch. Weird night. Wow, all this hard hit contact, and it's 2-0. On CSN Plus, Big Z is in the booth. Carlos Zambrano will mic up for his Spanish broadcast of Cubs baseball, presented by Swap-O-Rama. Cubs and Diamondbacks first pitch at 7, or stream the game live at csnchicago.com. That'll be a lot of fun. Wilson Contreras is from Carlos Zambrano's hometown, Puerto Cabello, Venezuela. On Wilson.
Victor Rondon heating it up.
Hayward and Almora to follow. Leadoff walk. First one he's issued tonight.
And again, he loses that advantage a little bit with a man on base in terms of the tempo. And there's our throwing right-hander Jacob Barnes.
A nice chat with Joe in his office today. And, invariably, when we have those pregame conversations, the lineup will pop up, and he said this is a lineup he had written out before the game last night. So, and he brought up Kyle Schwarber. He said, you know, a left-handed pitcher tonight, and he said, I don't want to change my plan just because a guy had a big night after I kind of devised what we were going to do. Ground ball, second base. They'll get one. They'll get them both. That's a big double play for Suter. Two down.
Yeah, Perez making just his 6th start at second base this year, but a good defender, plays all over the field. Quickly getting that ball to Arcia at shortstop, a real key here. Watch how quickly he gets this out of his glove to the shortstop. He's got a big arm.
Almora deep to right. Santana will have room, and we've hit the 7th inning stretch. It's still 2-0 Milwaukee.
You get to Wrigley Field, the Cubs suggest taking public transportation. They offer a free bike check that's located by the Addison Red Line station. Should you drive, the Cubs provide free remote parking and shuttle service on night and weekend games. For information, visit the A to Z guide at Cubs.com.
Cubs go into their bullpen. They're throwing Hector Rondon after Jose Quintana got 6 quality innings, allowing 2 runs. At the moment, he would be on the hook for his first loss. The Cubs cannot come back.
And had to battle through a couple of crisis situations, able to limit the damage. Got that big fly out off the bat of Ryan Braun with the bases loaded in the 4th. And then 2 perfect innings after that. More quality work from Quintana. Rondon has pitched scoreless baseball the last couple of times he's been out, coming on the heels of that disastrous outing against the Cardinals, in which he allowed 4 runs without retiring a man. He's responded nicely since then.
Eric Sogard, left-handed bat, will hit for the pitcher's Suter. Veteran super utility man has been terrific with Milwaukee. And a strike.
Brewers have given up a lot of leads this year. They've lost 6 games in which they've been leading after 8 innings.
Sogard did not play last year with a knee issue. When healthy this year, has been great. On the DL in July with a left ankle injury. And out into center, Almora dives and makes a catch.
Oh, what a beautiful play. And it all started with a great break. I mean, well positioned to begin with, but great reaction by Almora. Charged with an error earlier in the ball game, and you're going to get a good look at it here. Boom, off he goes.
Swing and a miss by Santana.
And you really got to give a lot of credit to the Brewers front office. Some of these under the radar acquisitions. So Sogard doing some of the best work of his career, getting Thames back from Korea. Aguilar, you mentioned earlier, a waiver claim. According to the reports, Brewers were in on Quintana. They've shown interest in Sonny Gray. Ian Kinsler's name has been linked to the Brewers. Lately, Curtis Granderson. They're in the mood to give up any of their big-time prospects. So, I mean, they've got a rebuilding plan in place. Would winning this series, would that be enough to convince them otherwise? I mean,
yeah, it makes you wonder. Well, we mentioned, they were in first place for 2 months, but if we did the whole go back to opening day and ask Craig Counsell in this front office, you could go into that end of July series a game and a half behind the first place Cubs, would you take it? The answer would have been probably absolutely. 2-2.
Mentioned the Ray injury in that ball game. It is scoreless. Diamondbacks and Cardinals, bottom of the 6th. Michael Walker pitching for St. Louis tonight.
D-backs won last night 4-0 on a J.D. Martinez grand slam. One hopper deep in the hole at short. Russell to first. Out. How about the defense here in the 7th?
Yeah, all night long. Boy, from both sides, it's been a lot of good work by the defenders, and Russell's been flying all over the diamond. With a little help on the other end from Anthony. Great anticipation. He's reading the swing there. He's starting to move before the ball's put in play.
Long cuts and misses. Masahiro Tanaka was perfect into the 6th. Ended up with a career high 14 strikeouts and the Yankees' 5th consecutive win, 6-1 over Tampa Bay tonight. Aaron Judge hit his 33rd.
See what happened to him yesterday?
Yeah, he chipped his tooth in the post-game celebration as they won in extras.
Brett Gardner scored the winning run. I don't know if it was a walk-off home run or whatever, but he picked up the helmet on the ground because he was afraid somebody was going to trip on it. And then the helmet got whacked into his mouth and chipped his tooth.
Lucas Duda homered tonight for the Rays. Got traded yesterday from the Mets.
Ron is 4 out of 12 in his career with a home run against Hector.
Pirates are in San Diego tonight as they continue their West Coast swing.
Travis Wood is pitching for the Padres. Just dealt there recently. And Chad Kuhl will pitch for Pittsburgh.
They'll play 6 times in the next 10 days. Pirates and Padres.
Yeah, Pirates are in a run against a pretty good run of inferior competition, I guess, is one way to put it.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Rondon goes 1-2-3 with some help from his defense. 2-0 Brewers. Loan now at eclicklending.com. eClick is located right here in Chicagoland and rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Your mortgage just happened.
That was the worst explosion ever.
Thanks for the assistance. Hey, we just saw this guy in Chicago.
Yeah.
He got a save.
Yeah, he got it.
First of his career.
Yeah.
That was on Monday.
Yeah, the White Sox, they've been in a trade-a-day mode there, and Swarzak finds himself now pitching for the Milwaukee Brewers. This is his Brewer debut. Good heater and slider, throws a lot of sliders.
Most of his career has been spent in the Midwest. Central teams, Minnesota, Cleveland, White Sox, now the Brewers. Brief stint with the Yankees as well. And Addison Russell, time's running short. The Cubs only have 6 outs to work with. And 2.
An elevated slide ball. Goes it hard, 88, running across the top of the zone. 9-man bullpen here tonight for the Brewers. I don't know how long it will stay that way. They got 8 righties and a lone lefty out there, Josh Hader. Hader's currently getting ready. Find a way to reach. A little traffic, put a little pressure on.
Adrian Beltre, 2 more hits tonight, so he's at 29-98. Rangers lead the Orioles 8-1 in the 6th inning. Two from Swarzak, and we'll try it again. It's Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown. Congrats to all of the inductees. Edge Rodriguez, Tim Raines, Jeff Bagwell, Bud Selig, John Schuerholz, and J.G. Taylor Spink Award winner. The Writers Award, Claire Smith. The Ford C. Frick Award for broadcasting, the late Bill King. Another 2-2. Fly ball, well hit. Santana is going to get it. Wow. Oh, so close.
Solid contact. Just got under it a wee bit.
We thought maybe.
Yeah, Swarzak did too, the way he reacted.
And I just got here. I can't give up a home run to the first batter.
second batter.
A moonshot. It's one of the longest home runs I've ever seen in this ballpark, and the Cubs are on the board.
Yeah. He unloaded. We talk a lot about his swing and how he has a tendency to overswing, but it's fun to watch when he makes contact. I don't think anybody enjoyed it any more than he did. It's been a tough go here the last couple of days for him. It's a slider that is hung right there over the inside part of the plate, and watch this swing.
Ford home run replay, so the Cubs get their first run on a Baez blast off the Stadium Club glass.
That time John Daly found the fairway.
Ben Zobrist pinch hitting for Rondon. Swarzak's major league debut was with Minnesota as a starter against the Milwaukee Brewers, and the first batter he ever faced at this level, yeah, Craig Counsell. Bobby's home run, 449 feet. Zobrist pops it up over near the Cubs dugout, and Shaw caught it. What a grab by Travis Shaw right at the edge of the Cubs dugout.
See him take a peek, got to get his bearings. Great catch.
You like defense. This has been quite a night of baseball here. John Jay with 2 outs. Ball 1. This ballpark is abuzz. 42,574. It's a sellout. Swarzak to the plate, 2-2. Full count with Chris Bryant on deck. Ground ball wide at first. It's foul. Brewers got their runs in the second and the fourth, while Jose Quintana. Cubs did not have too many chances against Brent Suter. When they did, he ended up getting a double play ball.
It was really impressive.
Baez with the homer here in the 8th. Make it a 1-run ball game. Ball 4.
Good work. Two reaches for the leadoff man tonight.
Cubs came in having won 9 in a row on the road. Garrett Johnson, the pitching coach, will head out.
John Jay brought a .390 on base percentage into this ball game.
Hader is the lefty.
So the all-star closer,
Corey Knebel, the right-hander. For now, it's Swarzak to face Bryant. Right to the first baseman, Aguilar, to end the Cubs' 8th. Javier Baez, who has struggled here this week, took out his anger on that baseball. Cubs on the board, trailing 2-1 lead. Presented by Benny's Beverage Depot, and we're going to give it to the Cubs defense here tonight.
It has been fun to watch. Wilson Hayward takes a home run away from Ryan Braun. Albert Almora, sinking line drive. Mason Russell's made a couple of sparkling plays here tonight.
Benny's Beverage Depot is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs. Travis Shaw way out in front. Brian Dunson.
Talk about breaking the pinata. That was a hanging breaking ball.
Zobrist playing left.
Now Brian Dunson just continues to impress. 2.51 ERA through 40 ball games. He's not allowed to run this month. He's pitched a complete game shutout this month. 9 innings of work, 4 hits, no runs, a couple of walks, 9 strikeouts.
Two to 1 Milwaukee with the lead. So if the Cubs are going to come back, they're going to have to do it off the all-star closer Knebel. Line drive. What else is new? Zobrist makes the catch.
The Cubs are introducing game-changing new premier experiences at Wrigley Field. Seats with prime views and access to an exclusive club and first-class amenities. These new premier experiences will allow fans to enjoy Cubs baseball in America's most majestic ballpark in a whole new way. Visit CubsPremier.com to join the Premier Client Priority List.
Justin Grimm will replace Dunsing when we return. 2-1 Brewers. So Weber sauces and seasonings called to the pen. Call grilling flavor up to the bigs.
Justin Grimm pitching for the 35th time. He has pitched to a 5.40 ERA, 38 1/3 innings of work. He's allowed 31 hits, 20 walks. Home run ball has been an issue. He's allowed 9 long ones. Justin's been in a rough patch here of late. He's allowed runs in 5 consecutive outings in 6 of his last 7.
Aguilar, the first baseman, 1 out of 3 with a run. So he lifts the heel of his front foot as he gets ready to hit. Slider.
Looked like it, didn't it?
Normally
fastball, curveball typically, but yeah, maybe.
You only see 95 or 83. That was 89. That time 95 on the fastball.
And the year he's having and scuffling a little bit here of late. Maybe trying to come up with a breaking ball he can control a little bit better. Shorter break, perhaps easier to command, and it's good to have another look too. And there's a good curveball.
Ryan Dunsing did his job. Popped up. Contreras flings his mask away, and he's got it.
Another slider.
Looking ahead to the 9th, Rizzo, Contreras, and Hayward do. Strike on Hernan Perez, the pitch. 0-2. Start an hour earlier tomorrow night. A 1 o'clock ball game on Sunday.
According to Fangraphs, Justin has thrown a slider 2% of the time this year.
One bouncer to Russell. This throws in time, and we'll go to the ninth. It's 2-1 Milwaukee. Cubs out hitting the Brewers 5-4. Let's check out our hefty home run, and this one about as hefty as they come.
Yeah, Swarzak, a mistake slider trying to go out away from Javi, leaves it inner part of the plate, and he just demolished that baseball.
It's a little tougher here. Corey Knebel make his 49th appearance, looking for his 18th save. He leads all relievers with 81 strikeouts and had 45 consecutive appearances with a strikeout. To start the year, that's a single season major league record for relievers.
And he has struck out 42% of the batters he has faced. League average strikeout rate is right around 20%. So.
So a one-run ball game, ninth inning. Knebel against Rizzo, and here we go. Ball one.
A very sharp curveball to go along with the mid to upper 90s fastball.
But it missed way low. 2 balls, no strikes.
42% strikeout rate, third best in baseball behind Craig Kimbrell, who struck out a little more than 50% of the batters he has faced, and Tommy Kahnle, former White Sox, now Yankee, has punched out 43%.
Got this series this weekend, and then they'll match up 7 times in September. 3 at Wrigley Field, weekend of the 8th. 4 here in Milwaukee, the weekend of September 21st. 3-1.
Guess it's fitting that the 3 highest strikeout rates in baseball, their last names all begin with K. Kimbrel, Canely, and Knebel. The difference being that Kimbrel and Canely don't walk many. Knebel does. Don't you, Cano?
Rizzo cracked his bat.
Number 4 on that list, by the way. Kenley with a K.
Yeah.
Jansen. So we've had our fun with letters. We just need Anthony to hit one over the wall, or we'd even settle for off the wall.
Maybe he'll hit the Clements sign with a K. Three and 2. Contreras next.
Interesting, Anthony not choking up here. It's in launch mode.
Ball 4. Leadoff walk.
I told you all the good about Knebel, but there is some bad. I mentioned the walks, and you could live with walks when the guy strikes out as many as he does, but he has failed to convert on 5 occasions.
Here's the pitch to Contreras. It's a strike. Going slightly to pull in the outfield. And fairly deep. The non-shift almost looks like a shift these days. The Brewers not doing anything funky against Contreras here. 0-2.
It's pretty firm. 98. Late life.
Swing and a miss for the first out. Brings up Hayward with Kyle Schwarber now on deck for Almora. Short lead by Rizzo, being held by Aguilar. And inside on Hayward. Travis Shaw way off the line at third, looking into his dugout, asking for some direction here. And Schwarber on deck.
Pena has thrown out 29% of would-be base stealers, a little bit better than league average. Every now and then we'll have a little sneak attack.
Major League best 6 catcher pickoffs too.
Yeah, that's why I don't think maybe with 2 outs they'll try something, but I feel like they got a better chance of getting a base here on a curveball in the dirt than a straight steal. The other option would have been to pinch run with Happ and let him try to steal a base.
kick and the 1-1 bounce. Rizzo's going to try to make it, and he will.
Well, that's the one. Pretty athletic play by Pena. A little bit of a hesitation initially by Anthony, but decides to go for it, and it was a good decision.
So walking a wild pitch has a game time run in scoring position with 1 out. And the count is 2-1 on Hayward.
You got to be ready to hit the fastball. If you can throw that curveball over, you don't have much of a chance. That's what most hitters will tell you. It's funny though, the guy throws 98 miles an hour. You don't have much of a chance against that either. But rarely would you hear a hitter say, you know what, I'm going to go up there against a guy like Knebel and just sit on a breaking pitch.
Three and 2 on Hayward. Here it comes. Knebel will take the out at first. Perez was yelling at him from second base. Not to worry about Rizzo and get the second out. Going to bring up Schwarber. Tying run now at third, but again 2 outs.
It does bring the bounce breaking ball back into play.
Two-homer night and a triple added for Kyle Schwarber. This one had good hang time.
Been doing a lot of good work the other way since coming back from the minor leagues, and a little bit of everything last night.
This crowd making some noise. Nobody's left. They're on their feet. 2 outs, 9th inning, and the pitch to Schwarber misses. Ball 1. He's batting for Almora. Knebel's 1-0, and Kyle with an awkward cut. 1-1.
You got to get it started early, and he certainly has a quick bat. Tried to check, could not.
Is a strike on the inside edge. 1-2. Every contest this weekend's a 2-game swing in the standings. Brewers trying to get within a half a game of the lead. Cubs trying to push them to 2.5 out.
Elevated heater.
Swing and a miss, and the Brewers win the opener. 2-1 the final. Still not scoring a ton of runs, but their pitching was very good tonight. Suter, Swarzak, and then Knebel.
Yeah, it's interesting to contrast Suter, the finesse guy, and then the power of Knebel at the end. Schwarber went after a good pitch, just could not catch up to it.
So the Cubs lead down to a half a game, but 2 more to go in this series, and we will be back with you on CSN 12:30 for a pregame coverage for the finale on Sunday, Cubs and the Brewers. For JD and our entire CSN crew here in Milwaukee, Len Casper with your final score once again. Brewers 2, Cubs 1. Stay tuned. We have more Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs postgame live is next.